Good morning and welcome to Morning Scoop for Tuesday, May 10th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Notre Dame game is in 117 days, the game against Michigan in 201 days. We are busy talking recruiting this morning, and we head into what could be a very busy and very exciting time for the Ohio State football program. The Buckeyes are in line to potentially land a number of the nation's very best prospects, including the player considered the top overall prospect for the 2024 by some recruiting services. My guest today is a consensus five-star himself. He is the great Bill Greene. He just put out of his list of 11 guys in the 2023 and 2024 classes who he projects as being as good as in for the Buckeyes' upcoming classes, at least for now. Bill, thanks for being here.
All right, Tom. Good to be here, man.
So I wanted to start with a guy who is going to be very at the top of the news cycle today. As of the time we're recording this, there's no official news on him, but that could change at any time, possibly before you listen to this. His name is 2024 quarterback Dylan Raiola. The folks at 247 have him as the top overall player in that class. He's someone that you are feeling pretty good about Ohio State's chances with, and that is a decision that could be coming quite literally any time now. Can you give us just a little bit of a scouting report on Dylan Raiola?
Yeah, what you like about? I mean, this is a really, really big, tough, strong-arm Josh Allen type of quarterback. You know, he can really sling it. I mean, and this is a big kid, and he's got everything you want, you know, in a quarterback. I can see why, you know, a lot of people think he's the top prospect in the 2024 class. I mean, he is just, you know, he's got everything you need. I mean, and if he doesn't get hurt and if he doesn't get somehow sidetracked along the way, I mean, if everything goes the way it should go, this kid's going to be a heck of a college football player.
All right. And, you know, that is a commitment that, as I said, could come sooner rather than later. And I know you are someone who very openly says you are not a when guy, but, you know, if he does become the first commitment for 2024 at some point relatively soon, how big is that to have a five-star quarterback who you can help you with recruiting guys for the next 19 months or so?
Yeah, I mean, it does mean a lot. And I'm the last guy that believes in kids recruiting kids. You know, if your coaches aren't doing the job they're supposed to be doing, those recruits can't save you in the class. But, you know, the one time that it does mean something is when it's a quarterback. Okay, you know, I see sometimes an outside linebacker or a center will commit early, and it's like, oh, he's going to help build the class. It's like, yeah, good luck with that. That's not going to happen. So, but with, you know, Dylan Raiola, kids are going to gravitate to him. Obviously, you know, the wideouts are coming for sure. Skill guys, the O-linemen want to play in front of a kid like that. And then the defenders kind of get caught up in that too. You know, you want to play somewhere where you're going to win a lot of games. You're going to get NFL exposure and hopefully compete in the playoffs. And a guy like Dylan Raiola checks off all those boxes. Okay, he gives you a chance. You know, quarterback, the single most important position in all of team sports. So, yeah, when you get the quarterback in early, he does help you recruit, where, you know, the other positions, it really doesn't. But Dylan Raiola, huge, no doubt, huge get for Ohio State.
So, you know, you have three wide receivers on your list of guys for 2023 who you think are, you know, more or less in right now for the class. Two of them are guys who we have just talked to death in the past, Brandon Inniss and Carnell Tate. If you need Bill's thoughts on Brandon Inniss and Carnell Tate, go back to any of about 5 previous episodes of the Morning Scoop where we've talked all about him. The third guy is someone who seems like he's gotten a lot more serious about Ohio State recently. That is Noah Rogers. So, you know, we've talked about Brandon and Carnell. So now what should people know about Noah Rogers?
Man, to me, when I watch that film, I see Jackson Smith-Njigba, and, you know, I think Hartline and Ryan Day would probably enjoy having another Jackson Smith-Njigba on that roster. So that's kind of what I see in that kid. I just see a kid that can run every route, play inside, play outside. He's going to catch the football. He's going to get yards after the catch for you. Got a nice catch radius. I mean, again, this is, you know, it's another Brian Hartline guy. You know, he doesn't take projects. You know, he doesn't take sleepers. You know, so, you know, if every coach recruited his position the way Brian Hartline recruits his position, you know, he probably wouldn't have lost to Michigan last year and he would have lost to Oregon. You know, of course, with Kerry Combs running the defense, maybe he would have. But, you know, Brian does such a great job. And like I said, I mean, he's not taking these, you know, kids no one's ever heard of with offers from Akron and Missouri State. You know, he's getting the cream of the cream of the cream. And this kid fits right in. You know, I love Bryson Rogers. we're not allowed to mention Tate and Ennis, I guess, but so this conceivably will be a 4-man class that just rivals the other classes Brian has brought in at Ohio State. It's all cream. You know what I mean? It's just amazing what he does year after year after year. And the nice thing about Brian is it's not just recruiting rankings and 5-star buzz. You see it on the field. Watch the draft. So that's the great thing about Heartline. It's not just the recruiting, it's the development. So, and Noah Rogers, if you land him, which I think they will, I mean, my gosh, he just fits right in with all the other guys they've brought in the last 3 or 4 years.
It feels like you can look at a lot of past Ohio State wide receivers or current Ohio State wide receivers, and if it's like, well, this guy's kind of a Chris Olave type, it's like, that will work in this offense. This guy's a Garrett Wilson type, that will work in this offense. Jackson Smith and Jigbo, we've seen him catch a few footballs in this offense. That type probably fits in this offense. So yeah, the Brian Hartline train just kind of keeps rolling there, and we'll get to a couple 2024 Brian Hartline targets in just a second. There are 4 guys you are projecting on the defensive side of the ball for 2023. People can read all about that on our Ask the Insider Sport at Buckeye Scoop. Bill had a great post about just all of these guys. So you can go find the defensive side of the ball there. We're just going to talk a little offense today. But, there are 3 more guys you have on the list for 2024, in addition to Raiola. The first is, another Brian Hartline wide receiver, J.J. Smith. What kind of prospect is J.J. Smith?
JJ, I would compare, he's this type of receiver. I'm not comparing him to this person, but, a Terrell Owens type, just a big physical brute who can also run. Maybe he turns out, maybe Marvin Harrison is a more apt comparison, just that big, strong, physical guy who can run and who the little 5'10", 175-pound corner has zero chance to cover. You put a big guy on him, he's going to run away from him. You put a little guy on him, he's just going to beat the crap out of him and go get the ball over him. So, tough matchup, man. J.J. Smith, and he's just such a great kid. Great bloodlines there. His uncle's Geno Smith in the NFL, and J.J.'s had some brothers that have played college football, and hard-working kid. I mean, this kid busts his tail. He wants to get better, and the sky's the limit for J.J. Like I say, I think Marvin Harrison probably is a better comparison than Terrell Owens, but that big, strong, physical guy that's just such a tough matchup.
And when you say Marvin Harrison, do you mean Marvin Harrison Sr. or Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Junior, the one on the Ohio State team right now, that kind of played in the Rose Bowl and it made everyone say, wow, that guy. Good.
Another Brian Hartline wide receiver who has done some stuff recently. Yes, 3 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl as a true freshman. Not too bad. Now, the last 2 guys you had listed for 2024 are JoJo Trader and Bryce West. You have both of them listed as wide receiver / cornerback. Now, is that something that's based on having to wait to see how they develop? Is that where the need is? And how and when does that positional decision get made for guys like that who are kind of up in the air positionally right now?
Yeah, I think it's more where do they end up? I mean, when you start talking 2024, these kids right now are sitting in biology class in their sophomore season, you know what I mean? Or sophomore year of high school. They haven't even gotten to their summer yet before their junior year. So we don't know. All we know is you want these 2 guys you want them in your class. You want them in your room. And then you got to figure out what room that'll be. I could see both of them playing corner. And, I kind of share the thought with Mark Givler is that if it's a tie between corner and wideout, then you better play corner because we can find wideouts, and they're hard to find corners. So, but we'll see. Those kids are so talented that, I mean, right now for me, I can see both of them on either side of the ball and doing really, really well. So, like I said, I'm hoping to see both of them in camp this summer, just to kind of see how they've progressed. And then, you want to see what they do next year as juniors in high school, and that's months away. So it's just guys right now, you want them for sure. And then, and maybe Ohio State does have a specific position for both of them, for me, I see both sides. I mean, I see both sides of the ball and could not make that determination right now at all. But maybe Ohio State has in their eyes, they may know where they want these kids.
Well, I mean, you mentioned those camps. Those camps start on June 1st, so we're only, 3-4 weeks away from the first one of those camps. I guess 3 weeks away. So, yeah, it is almost that time of year again. And if you have enjoyed all this recruiting talk, you will probably enjoy our coverage of all of those camps all through the month of June. But you will probably also enjoy the great content that Mark Givler and Kevin Noon have been pumping out on their Southern Swing for the last week or so. They've been down in Georgia and Florida for more than a week now, meeting with a ton of really elite prospects in the region. I heard rumors maybe Richard Young pretty soon, one of the 2023 really elite running back who looks like he might be an Ohio State Alabama battle. They're supposedly going to be checking in with him at some point soon. That's going to be a very big name. But they had talked to a ton of very big names, very top targets for Ohio State. Check out their content at Buckeye Scoop, but also make sure you listen to their episode of the Big Me Kickoff podcast that just released on Monday, talking about a bunch of the stuff that they have seen and heard while they're down there. And, just check Twitter again. No news on Dylan Raiola just yet, but if and when Dylan Raiola does commit to Ohio State, Tony Gerderman and I will pop up an instant reaction podcast on the Buckeye Weekly podcast feed and on the YouTube channel as well at youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. So if you happen to hear news of Dylan Raiola before we speak to you again, you can hear Tony and I talking all about his commitment, what that might mean moving forward for the Buckeyes. So that will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.